got some Allbirds. I have a beige pair of tree runners, but I've had it for about a year, so they've just been starting to wear down a little, and it was basically time to get new shoes. I decided to get a green pair this time because I had wanted these green ones last time, and then I decided to get the beige ones because they were easier to match with, but since I've already had those, I wanted to try a new color. Spike is playing with a toy right now, so sorry for the disruption. Let's see if they fit. Well, they feel pretty good, just the same as the old ones, but with better cushion now, and they are the right size, so I am very happy. You curious what I'm up to? Hey, I can't pet you. My nails are wet. It's probably not good for you, okay? Oh, oh. I thought I would do a reading update in today's video because I am reading a number of different books. If you've watched previous videos, you might have seen that I have a Kindle, and this is generally my primary reading device. The sticker is from my friend. I've been using the Kindle for probably over 5 years. My then boyfriend, now husband, would periodically buy me new ones, so this is my third one. This is the 11th generation Kindle Paperwhite. So I really like the Paperwhite because it has the ability to turn on a light. So when you're trying to read in bed without disturbing your partner, or if you're like on a plane, for example, I always feel very self-conscious when I turn on the overhead light because it's pretty bright, especially if you're on like a red eye or something and everybody else is sleeping. So I really like having the light option. I am currently reading 2 books on it. So one is Onyx Storm. This is book 3 of the Fourth Wing series. And I don't even remember how I heard about Fourth Wing. I just had it and finally started reading it a couple months ago and just got hooked immediately. I just really liked the concept of dragons, and fantasy is my favorite genre. Generally, I find the writing pretty good. It's exciting. So I am about 70% done. I think it's a 5-book series, so we're right in the middle of everything. And usually middle books just have a drag, and book 2 certainly felt that way. Book 2 was my least favorite so far out of the 3 books that are out. I am glad that book 3 is a little bit better and you get to see more of the world of this universe, and it's been fun just learning a bit more about other places that we didn't get to visit in the previous 2 books. I do find Violet still a little bit annoying. Not as annoying as book 2. I really could not stand her in the second book because of her lack of logic and stubbornness, and some of that is still here. We get a lot of like very noble, honorable Ned Stark type of behavior where she'll just disobey orders. She'll just, hi Spike, you want to say hi? Do not rub against the tripod, please. It's not that stable. Hi, baby. But I think just to sum it all up, so far, very intriguing. There's a little bit of repetitive stuff that we've seen from books 1 and 2, but I'm definitely going to keep reading. Depending how it ends, we'll see how I feel about moving on to a 4th book. I'm also a little bit nervous about having withdrawals because this 3rd book just came out in January, so we're going to have to wait a while for the next one. Next, I am also reading The Anxious Generation. This is a nonfiction book. It's about mostly Gen Z, also a little bit of millennials, and it's really about how parents started being really protective of their kids, and at the same time, in the late aughts, smartphones were introduced, and so it's talking about these 2 factors combining and causing a lot of anxiety in our young people today. I am just short of 20% through so far, so I don't necessarily have all of the insights, but it's been interesting to read as someone who is in the millennial generation and has really grown up with a lot of internet, and at the same time still remembering what it was like to not have internet or to only have internet tied to dial-up or only when you're at home. It's been unique to think about how the world today with its super internet connectedness is influencing how the next generation is growing up. It talks a lot about how these younger generations have less direct, like person-to-person, face-to-face interaction, and so that leads to just a lot of like psychological things that are going on. And as someone who is newly married and may be a parent someday, it's interesting to kind of, oh my goodness, Spike! What was I saying? It's interesting as someone who may be a parent sometime in the near future to think about how I would want to raise my kids and better support them without coddling them so that they grow up to be well-rounded adults. And since I finally set up this bookshelf and unpacked my books recently, I have gotten back into reading hard copy books as well. In my last video, I showed a little bit of The Power Broker. I mentioned it's a giant tome of a book. It's so big. It has, let's see how many pages. It is 1,162 pages long. So definitely not for the faint of heart, but this is a very famous book that came out in, I think, 1975, but it really covers New York City, and in particular one man, Robert Moses, who really got into the politics there and had a huge impact on what infrastructure was built in New York. And it also gives you the inner workings of how politics worked back then. And to be honest, I don't think that much has changed. Robert Moses basically did a lot to advance stuff for the public. Like, he built so many parks, which are hard to argue against, right? They're beautiful green spaces that anybody can enjoy. But the way that he got these parks built was through rather nefarious and corruptive means. It's like you're rooting for him, but then you also hate him. So it's just a very interesting mindset to be in, I guess, and just really illustrates how things are often gray and not just black and white. And then I recently picked back up in Lord of the Rings. So this is the third book, The Return of the King. I have read all of these before, but I was in high school, so I wanted to reread these, being a huge fan of the movies. I just checked my Goodreads and I basically finished The Two Towers a year ago this month. I ended up taking a longer break than I had planned from the series, but I'm finally going to finish it now. I don't have too many insights yet because I'm not that far into the books, but it's just been fun to dive into. Nice and relaxing because I basically know what's going to happen, and it's just like revisiting another world that I love. So yeah, I am reading a lot of books right now, 2 ebooks and 2 physical books. Good morning. I am heading to Chinatown today to hang out with some friends. We're gonna meet up at home coffee roasters to start so that we can caffeinate. There is also a fair going on, so I think we're gonna go check that out and we'll see where the day takes us today. All right, let's go.